This is a podcast on how to grow on Twitch. If you're a Twitch streamer, if you're not a Twitch streamer, you can still learn a heck of a lot on how to grow in life because we have absolutely wonderful people in here and a very positive environment that you're able to take an introspective look into both of our minds and see what works for you, what doesn't. And I always say maybe you can learn a thing or two from this podcast. So yeah, let's just start with the first question. Are you all ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Cool.
I've been preparing this for over a week now.
What seemed to have gotten you into streaming, sir?
So basically when I was, I've never really played video games with other people. And as I would say, it's just meeting someone who was streaming. I didn't know anything about Discord or Twitch, a little bit of Twitch, but I've never really hung out in streams beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually through Dead by Daylight, I met someone who was already a Twitch streamer, and I met his community, and then started talking more and more to others, and eventually I decided to give it a go and try to build my own community. That's how it started.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
It was right before COVID, so I actually started streaming. I think I looked at it the other day. I think it was on the 22nd of February 2020.
Okay.
So yeah, a little bit after my birthday.
Where did you struggle when you were first starting out? How did you attain your first couple of consistent viewers?
The first part you said, where did I struggle? And it's everything that has to do with technology. Mm-hmm. I'm being called a boomer by my own community, and it's been like that for months. I'm very slow to learn all the intricacies of OBS and whatsoever in Discord, and so that was a big struggle. I spent countless hours watching videos like tutorial how to set one thing and then the other, and then it was like never ending. But yeah, the reason, I guess, my first couple of viewers, like right off the bat, when I first went live, I already had some people that I knew from the community that I had met. Mm-hmm. So when I did go live, they would already start and hang out with me whenever I would stream.
Okay.
So I didn't start at like zero viewer.
Mm-hmm.
I started, I would average maybe like 1 or 2 viewers. It was like I had those friends, but it was mostly for them and for just the fun of it that I would stream.
Were these people, were they part of the Dead by Daylight community, or were they other streamers, or what?
They were not other streamers. They were part of the Dead by Daylight community. Actually, one of them is streaming. It's not consistent, but mm-hmm. he does stream every now and then.
Everyone needs that jumpstart, that boost. So it's actually a really positive environment to have people that you know previous to streaming.
It's a very good thing because I know that streaming can kind of have a toll on some people, and it can be very lonely for some individuals. So to mm-hmm. have some people around you is very motivating, and it helps a lot, yeah.
Speaking a little more on that, more on the loneliness or maybe anxiety or something of that nature whenever you're not hitting those numbers. And I know it's happened to me for sure, and probably with a lot of other streamers. How does your mind cope with that?
I do a lot of self-reflection, and I like to kind of think through the ideas. There's an emotional part of ourselves as human that can sometimes kind of jump in those situations. I felt like sometimes I would give myself my own self-value in mm-hmm. relations to if one stream I didn't feel like it was going well, I didn't feel like I was producing like good content, and then maybe the numbers were down for a couple of streams, mm-hmm. it would affect me, and I would kind of start questioning my own self-worth. And then eventually, just by taking a step back and realizing that it is not, streaming is one part of my life, but it's really the interactions that I have with this few amount of people that counts more than the number. That's why I never actually have my viewer count up when I'm streaming. I don't want it to affect if it goes down or up or down or up. I can see how self-value is easily affected by the numbers, but I try to steer away from it.
Self-value is so important. It's sort of like a double-edged sword. It's like streaming can totally, if you're focusing on the wrong things, it can take your self-value down like 3 notches. But if you're focusing on your own core values and to focus on what your channel is about, basically just to get on and have fun and be happy.
It's important for, even if you're not a streamer, just to think, what are your interests, who you are as a person, and always think of it that way. There are other, like, we are so many people on the planet. There are other people that think like you or that are passionate about the same thing as you. So if you stay true to yourself and you represent really who you are to the rest of the world, you'll find other people that you'll kind of filter out the people that you don't necessarily get along with, or that you don't necessarily want around you in your life, and you'll attract the people that you have interest for.
They always say to have a niche, have a value of some sort, because if you're not bringing a value, or if you don't have like a certain category, say of a game, the audience isn't going to come. And that's so true, because when it comes to your stream, even if you don't stream a certain game, like you have +2 on your side. You have a Dead by Daylight streamer, and you have the value of, I don't know, just a happy, positive place to be, and people feel warm when they're there. It's really interesting when you apply your values to your stream, the more people like you show up.
For example, in Dead by Daylight, there's this big, well, not stigma, but like it's considered a very toxic communities in many areas. So there are some people that are fed up with it and that feel like it's unnecessary. When I play a game, and if I encounter very toxic individuals or people that will go in post-game chat and try to be very negative and bring others down, I just don't buy into it. And I think that there are a lot of people that also don't want to always be surrounded by such energy. And so to create like kind of a hub where those people can gather and just have fun with a game, it's one of my goals for sure.
Why Dead by Daylight of all games?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. It's the same game it's on repeat, right?
Yeah.
It's rinse and repeat. It's always kind of the same setup where you repair gens and you try to escape.
Yeah.
I was never a horror game. I never really played a horror game before that. And I guess in the beginning it was scary. The more you play it, the more you get immune to jump scares or whatsoever in the game.
Yeah.
And it becomes a lot of fun. But I guess Dead by Daylight offers this opportunity to actually have fun with people if you play Survivor, or even if you gather enough people and you can make your own games with people that you like playing with. I started streaming another game, Detroit Become Human, and it's my first time playing those kind of games where you make decisions and it affects like different endings and whatsoever. And I think it's super interesting. It's nothing that I was used to, and people seem to like it as well. But yeah, Dead by Daylight is definitely a game that I'm having a lot of fun with.
If you're having a good time, seriously, other people can have a good time. That's another thing. It's like your community can sense way more of an emotional presence of yourself than anyone can give the community credit for. If you're angry, or if you're frustrated, or if you're nervous, like the community can sense that, and then therefore they take your emotional self and they kind of put it in their skin, and they're like, oh well, I'm getting sort of uncomfortable here. So people can really sense like the form of happiness. The streamers that we have on this podcast, for instance, like you, people can sense your happiness, your value, and that there's no wonder as to why you pull in the average amount of viewers that you do in such a short period of time, to be honest.
I could never expect that in such a short amount of time so many people would gather around the stream. The feedback that I get from everyone is impressive. You know, you said like playing games that makes you be in a good place and have fun, and if you're having a good time, people will feel it for sure. I think a lot of people also feel that I'm not afraid to be to ridicule myself. I'm not afraid to like to act a fool on stream.
Let's go back to your Twitch name. What's the origin behind that? Fill us in.
When I was a kid, I watched a movie, I guess in English it would be like Death Poet Society. I think it is the title.
Dead Poet Society?
Yeah, with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And they talk about this term called carpe diem, and to seize the now, and to try to always, sometimes your mind might wander in the future, and you might get some sort of stress or anxiety from it, or you might overthink the past, and this kind of weighs you down. And I thought it was super inspiring. So that's kind of where the Carpe Diem came from. The 13 at the end, it's simply because it's my birthday. It's very basic. Over time, as I started streaming, people saw that and they would call me Carp. It kind of came to fruition that the carp, the fish, and so so it kind of became the mascot of the channel and the server.
What keeps you motivated to keep playing Dead by Daylight and other various games on your stream?
I would say it has to be with the community and the feedback. It's so gratifying. It's actually it's something that is more personal, and I'm not gonna, talk about names in particular,
Hmm.
but since I started streaming, before I was actually streaming, I wanted to build my business as a massage therapist. So I got my diplomas over there. I don't know if I can show it if you mind, but
Yeah,
over
go
there.
ahead. Yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted to build a business around this. The reason being is that I wanted to be there for people, to try and do some good, and by doing it I would get this instant gratification of, like, when you work on documents,
Hmm.
they won't thank you, you won't feel like you're necessarily doing something good for someone.
Hmm.
But when you actually interact with people, and I guess you work in that field as well,
Hmm.
you get that great feeling of, like, have done something meaningful in your day. Since I started streaming, I've encountered a lot of people that were going through hard times, and we had to deal with some situations where people were not going well. It kind of gave me the fuel, and it kind of gave me that how do you say, like, this ha moment?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it had nothing to do with my original plan to become a massage therapist, I realized that I could be there for someone, that I could have an impact on somebody's life and try to make their day better, or to make them think about something that they might have missed, and try to just help them in general.
Yeah.
And so that's a big motivator in everything I do, because if there was no people, it would be even lonelier. I mean, I work a lot.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of hours working by myself. I work from home, and
Hmm.
I live in my place where I'm not lonely, but I mean, I live
You're
I,
just
I live on
alone.
my own, so
Yeah.
I'm
It's
alone.
quiet.
Yeah,
There's a lot of solitude there.
exactly. So to be able to have people that are constantly there and give me tips, tricks, or they tell me about their day, this is so meaningful to me, and it motivates me quite a lot.
Now I noticed you said business when it came to Twitch. Is that how you would describe it?
To a certain degree, I see it as a career path,
Yeah.
like an opportunity for maybe building something out there in the long run. I have my daytime job and whatsoever. There's definitely an aspect of it where it's like, if you want to grow to maybe one day be able to sustain yourself from that, I think you need to apply kind of a business mindset where you need to see what doesn't work, what people come to your stream for, what do they want to get out of this.
Yeah.
But obviously there's also the human side of it, which is completely separate to the business, and that's what is the main motivator. I feel for me it's kind of finding that balance
Hmm.
where you need to be conscious of what your needs are and how you can sustain this life,
Hmm.
and at the same time not steer away from what your core values are, and realizing that those people that are there around you, that are watching you, are
Hmm.
more than just numbers,
Yeah.
and to really value them for who they are as a person.
Yeah.
So there is a business aspect of it, but at least for me, for now, even though it can sometimes help me into taking some decisions, overall I depend on both sides. I cannot just focus on the business aspect and not think about the rest.
On your days off, are you focusing on things to maybe bring change to your streams or anything like that? Anything of that sort?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think I wake up in the morning and I go to bed at night thinking about streaming. It takes a lot of my time, but I'm
Yeah.
interested and passionate about it, right?
Yeah. Of
So I
course.
don't really mind it. But yes, for sure, I do think about it even on my downtime.
I love it. I love it. And you had mentioned core values. I wanted to go into that a little deeper. What are some of your core values that you bring into your stream each and every day?
Teaching each other, like learning from each other, and trying to develop a place, or like a mentality where you can be compassionate and listen to the other person. Before we were talking about toxicity earlier, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of loud people in the world, and there are a lot of loud voices and people expressing their opinion, and don't necessarily open up to whatever is in front of them, or are not necessarily willing to put in the effort to try and understand where somebody else is coming from. For us to have the opportunity to reach out for people from all over the world, like people in Europe and in South America, we need to understand that everyone has a different background, and then we can learn so much from this and actually grow ourselves within ourselves, not only others but also for us. So I would say, like, core values for sure, like communication and respect from one another, is very important to me.
Do you see more of that now that you're starting to get your feet off the ground with your stream and you start to see these average numbers? Do you see people who continually come back with those similar core values that you just went over?
I don't expect people to change necessarily. I would say more and more people with those kind of values gather around for sure. Not everyone thinks the same. And I think we have some situation where we actually question how we approach certain issues between one another, for people to show that the intention to try and better themselves is just, I can definitely see that I witness it. Some people come around the stream and I'm just goofing around and I'm not afraid to do it. I'm very willing to self-ridicule, and sometimes it's just a good time and it's simple like that. But people, I see more and more people, even younger people that are in their teens, realizing or like listening or paying attention to other individuals in some ways that maybe they didn't in the past. So all of this doesn't come from me; it comes from them. But it's just beautiful to see it happen.
What pushes you to hit that start streaming button, even on days when you don't feel like it?
I'm a very committed person. I don't commit easily to things because I could not deal with myself if I could not come through. It's my commitment, and I feel responsible for what is important to me. My experience says in everything that you'll want to do. I play guitar. Some days I don't want to play guitar, but I know that I want to get better at it. So it encourages me to see the bigger picture and see further than just what is now. If I hold myself accountable, it helps me become who I want to be. I also feel like sometimes if I fall victim to me saying, today I don't feel like doing this thing. And it's like, okay, I deserve a day off. I deserve, to take a break. And it's fine. But knowing myself, I know that this can easily become a pattern. And I'll say, oh yeah, but like today there's that happens, so I can't do this. And then so I think there are both positives and negative motivations in the world. Some negative motivation example would be like, I have to do this or else I'll face consequences, and I don't want to face those consequences, so it pushes me to do the thing. Or there are some positives where you can see benefits into doing something and it really motivates you. Or like some people have a chip on their shoulder and they want to they want to be proud of something they accomplished. They want to prove the world that they can do something, and that's positive. So there are both of those motivators. I think both are important in some way.
My core values stand in the literal same part as you. Is like, if I don't do this today, I can see a pattern starting. And it's so true. The pattern can continue. As a trainer for the last 12 years, I've literally seen it come true with clientele, with myself, even when it comes to exercising. If I take one day off of exercise, I'm not going to want to go back. If I commit to 3 days a week and then I take off 4 days or something, and I only do like 2 days a week, it's going to screw up everything. So, you need to hit your marks that you promise yourself. And I think that's most important, is that going after the values that literally only you want to possess. And you say, hey, I'm going to get 2 YouTube videos out per week. I'm going to get 5 days on stream per week, or something of that sort. And if you don't follow through, it's sort of like that endless abyss of just continually getting into the same pattern of, okay, well, I can take a day off. Well, yeah, there's nobody penalizing you for taking a day off except yourself. That's all you can account on.
This is definitely a job or a lifestyle or whatsoever, where I'm self-employed and I have to hold myself accountable. When you don't have a boss, there's nobody watching over you. If you don't become your own boss, it's very easy to not do that. And I have a question for you, because you said in regards to physical training and whatsoever. Are you still working out during COVID? And if not, are you afraid of like post-COVID, let's say if gyms open? I don't know how you would exercise before.
So generally I would exercise in the gym, but I'm not exercising in the gym anymore. No.
Do you think it will be difficult for you to start working out again after, if you take a long break like this?
I feel like if I wanted to get back into working out, if I kept, like we talked about earlier, if I kept a promise to myself, it's either I'm going 100% in or I'm not doing it at all. And I'm setting a number of days for myself, or I'm not setting any. It's like
Yeah.
I'm not going to do one day if I decide I want to do three or something like that. So if I commit, I can definitely handle it because I'm a self-employed employee too. So no one's watching over me. So you sort of have to hold yourself accountable in that sense.
If I can give any tips in regards to this, what makes it possible for me is also to be self-aware enough so I can set myself a reasonable schedule or reasonable expectations to be sustainable long term. For example, I used to stream 3 days a week. In the beginning, I used to stream three, sometimes four, and I would stream on weekends as well. Over time, I realized that me working 5 days a week and then having to stream on a Sunday on top of that and trying to clean the house and everything,
Yeah.
it was very very difficult for me to have any sort of social life or
Yeah.
any downtime for me.
Yeah.
I was almost working 7 days a week, and so I scaled that to do it only on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I would have my weekends off. But then I realized that if I wanted to, I have the intention to also, start creating more content on YouTube's on other platforms, and also just for myself, just for my own sanity, I realized that even 3 days a week was a little bit too much for me. If I want to hold myself accountable and actually follow through with what I say, I realized that I needed to scale it back down to two in order to provide it long term.
Do you plan your streams before you go live? Do you think of anything particular that you are going to want to do?
Most of the time, I try to have like a couple questions right to the side to interact with chat, but get them involved in the discussion. To have those kind of handy dandy questions on the side and be able to ask them and then spark discussions in chat is very very important to me.
Yeah.
So this is some way of me planning it. I do a lot of planning for longer periods of time, saying like, what do I want to put out and what do I want to try? Because
Yeah.
I try to test different things and see what works for me or what could be interesting. Most of the planning that I do is in regards to my discussions with chat. If anything crazy happens to me, I'll try to take a note during when it happens so I don't forget about it, and then the next time I'll mention it on chat.
When a new person comes into your community, how do you engage and welcome them?
I will simply ask, I hope your day is going well, or just ask them, how are you doing? If they don't answer, I don't push it. But if somebody says hello in chat, I will for sure like pay attention to what they have to say. I'll try to ask questions about what their interests are, where they're from,
Yeah.
if how they discovered the stream. On Dead by Daylight, my gamer tag has the TTV on it, right? So it brings in people sometimes from the game, and I would say in the beginning that's where most of my viewers came from, and then they fell in love with me, and
Of course.
that's how you grow. There were people coming in, and I would say, oh, did we play a game together? How did you find me? And then if they said, oh, I played a game of Dead by Daylight with you, I would say, what is your survivor main, or ask questions about the game, because my goal is to try and find a common interest or things that we share, and then try to establish conversation around it, and then we can build to other areas of their life if they're comfortable with it. I always say, like, if you don't want to talk about it, feel free, if you don't want to mention where you're from, feel free not to say it. I don't want to push you into that direction. But I'm just genuinely interested into what people have to say.
I want to actually pull a quote from you. You said this directly. Are you ready for this? And
Carpe Diem 2020.
That's it. And I wanna see how you interact and talk about it here. You said, I feel like it's important as human beings to get thrown out of their comfort zone. And then from that point on, we get the chance to have greater access and a wider understanding of the universe. So yeah, talk about that a little bit. That was so interesting to me when you said that.
We're deep on my stream, huh? I'm a big fan of traveling, and travel has been part of my life since I was a teenager. I put myself in those situations where I was completely I didn't have anything to stand on that I already knew. So I was thrown in those new situations with completely different way of living, and that opened my eyes so much about how wide the world is. And even though it's getting smaller and smaller, we know more and more about each other. If you stick to that little bubble, the little square actually right there, and I don't peek outside of this zone and try to force myself into those situations, I find myself limited because I missed out on so many opportunities to learn about the world, to learn about people, and to learn about myself as well, because when you're in those situations, when you take a risk in your life and you actually take a leap, it can be scary. It is scary because it's the unknown, but you realize over time that the more you throw yourself at those kind of situations, you actually gain a lot of self-confidence, because you realize that you can rely on yourself much more than you ever thought you could.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gives you the strength to do it more and more, and see that the world is not as scary of a place as it may seem.
I want to see what your thoughts are more on opportunity. You had mentioned opportunity, and opportunity means everything to me. You know, if someone wants to put me on a podcast or going out and striving for opportunity yourself, what are your thoughts on opportunity in general?
I think it kind of goes back to what we just talked about, right? Opportunities may seem scary sometimes, and they might seem uncomfortable, or because it's the unknown, you don't want to jump into it. But I try to, obviously you want to be smart about it. Like don't try to see if you can go swim against the current in like the craziest rivers out there,
That's not
if
opportunity to me. That's a death sentence.
I mean, yeah, it is. If you stay open and you kind of embrace what comes your way and try to see it as a positive, and being once again self-confident because of what you build up with previous experiences, the opportunities won't seem as far-fetched, and they will seem more positive than negative, I would say. And then it's just a matter of picking which one suits you best. For example, this is brand new to me. I've never been in some sort of interview like this.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit nervous. I told you about it when we set things up and everything.
I swear you told me 100 times.
Yeah, I know. So I was a little bit nervous about it, but the way I approached it is that even though I don't know what is going to happen today, I'm confident that, we can get through, and it's going to be a good time, because what's the worst that can happen? I'm just being myself, and we're just having a conversation. And I don't know if it answered the question, does it?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
Okay. I talk a lot sometimes. And the thing is that I start somewhere, and then I feel like I'm going this way.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if in between all of this, if I answer the question.
Do you have any other medias? YouTube, TikTok, I don't know, Instagram, that anybody can find you at?
I am on all those. I have this whiteboard, right? And all of these sections with different color is for social medias.
Okay.
So I have like plenty of things to do, and it's just to actually gather around and do it. I do have an interest for YouTube. I'm very picky on what I do. I need to learn how to let go and just post it. Done is better than perfect. If I always try to look for perfection, I'm never going to post anything. I do have a YouTube channel, and I do have an Instagram and TikTok. I want to maybe dedicate the Instagram to like my meal pics, because I'm basic like this. And then I would do maybe YouTube for more of the gaming stuff. I don't know. I'll try. I'll try things out. It's going to be interesting.
And the thing is, like, you have the rest of your life. There's no reason to feel any pressure towards any of it, because remember, at the end of the day, this is all for fun. The fun brings the business. Whatever medias you can handle right now, that's what you should start with, and that's where you're at.
I'm the type of person that when I start doing something, I'm all into it. I learned how to rock climb a couple years ago, and I would go to the rock climbing gym every day for like 3 weeks. My hands were bleeding. I almost died. Okay. I've gone through a lot of things.
I guess I shouldn't be laughing at that, but I took it as a joke, right? You didn't almost die, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be rude.
Like, oh, really? Well, that's funny. That is hilarious, guys.
I know, yeah. I didn't want to be that guy.
So I'm very passionate about the things that I do, and I usually go all out. So instead of, spreading myself thin on many platforms, just doing one can be fun and perfect and suitable for someone.
Hobbies. Tell me a little bit about past hobbies that you've done, and sort of like, let's build you up as a person. Let's get familiar with the man behind Carp.
I had many of them.
I would love to hear.
This year is kind of different than what I'm used to. I used to work out at the gym very often. Obviously, I didn't do that in months because here the gyms were closed for months now. But this summer, what I did is that I did this other hobby of mine, which is playing basketball. And I would wake up early every other day and go to the court and play basketball in the morning, and it would start off my day well.
Yeah.
Currently it's too cold because we're in Canada and winter is almost here. So yeah, when it comes to sports, I tried rock climbing, loved it. I love to play sports. To me, it's just like video games. It's not like a workout where I focus on it. It's just like so much fun, and like it's very interactive games with others. So I like playing sports. Winter is coming. I'll probably try to go and ski, and maybe if the mountains are open and everything, I'll try to go and ski and maybe skate. And on my downtime when I'm home, I love to play guitar. So I have two of my guitars that are right next to me.
Okay.
And they talk to me at night, and they tell me how much they miss me, and that I'll see them in the morning. And so yeah, I love music. Big fan of music. Big fan of going to concert and travel. Travel is the greatest experience I got in my life.
Upon travel, where's the most interesting place you've been?
I lived in China for over 8 months, and that was a crazy experience, completely different than everything I was used to.
Yeah.
But I can say the same about, South America, Ecuador and whatsoever. I lived in the jungle with the locals, and it was insane. And just anything that takes me away from everything I know, I love.
Yeah. Tell me more about one of those.
Let's talk about the jungle, because it was my first time traveling. I was 14 years old.
And this was like what location? Ecuador?
In Ecuador.
Okay.
That was the first time that I took the plane, first time that I left the country. It was so cool because we spent 5 days. I was with a group. It was initiated by the school. We spent 5 days in the jungle. It was insane. You get there at night. It was so dark because our bus got lost on its way there, because there was a river that went over a road, so we couldn't take the actual route to get there, so we had to go a detour. It took like 6 hours longer than it was supposed to.
Oh, geez.
Crazy stories. So we're walking through the jungle at night, and we get to our camp. We look for our beds right away. We go in our bedrooms, and there are those gigantic tarantulas on the ceiling, bugs, like giant bugs on the walls. And it's this crazy thing, but you have like this screen that you put around your bed, right? I remember crying because I had to put the screen under the mattress for it to like stay there and be completely shut.
Man. Yeah.
And I was so afraid to put my hand, and there would be like a tarantula or something.
Oh god, man. You're making me cringe.
We would wash ourselves at the river, so our soaps were like non damaging for the water and whatsoever. We learned how to like the thing that you and then there's a dart. We learned how to try and do that, but it's super long. It's like 1.5 meters long, and you're trying to hold it as a 14-year-old, and it's like crazy. I love to travel, but I don't think that I would spend my entire life traveling. I missed a lot of the people. I miss the people that I grew up with, and the people, my loved ones, So that's why I want to stay here, but travel at the same time.
I would assume traveling is one of your core values as a person.
For sure. It's something that I value very, very much.
Mm-hmm.
It offered me, it made me grew as an individual, and it offered me so much.
I think it's really hard to uncover your core values. How do you find you found out that you like to travel?
My mom never traveled when she was like in her whole life. She really never took the plane before I took her on a plane. And so she wanted me to try and experience this. So for me to go to Ecuador and be thrown out there as a 14-year-old teenager, it opened my eyes, and it was amazing. Just being so privileged as a kid to have a parent that wanted me to experience this, and for me to actually be in a position where I could afford going out there.
Oh yeah. So this is a common one that I love to ask. Are you a big lurker on other people's streams?
Are you even a Twitch or a streamer in general if you don't lurk on other people's stream? I used to have like 1-2 tabs open at max. Now I have 10 every day, because I want to support as many people as possible, people that other streamers that I've discovered, and people that I truly value, just to be there. There's this one particular member. He is in a different time zone than me, and he just comes in and tells me at the beginning of the stream, "Hi, I'm about to go to bed very, very soon. but have a nice stream, and I just wanted to say hi. And this means so much. It starts off my stream so well to have this feeling of like, hey, you know, they took the time out of their day, their most valuable resources
absolutely
in life. Don't care about the money, don't care about what you own, just your time. You took the time and come and say hi, and it means so much. And so I try to do the same as much as possible, where I'll go onto other people's stream and say, hey, at this moment I'm very busy, but thank you for streaming. Have a good one, and I'll be lurking. I'm a big lurker.
How do you go about forming relationships on Twitch yourself? Because I think that is, I mean, everyone says networking, but I think everyone networks in different ways. How do you network?
I would suggest don't force it. I don't want to force relationships where it's not genuine, because the true like good thing about streaming is that it's fun and it's you, and you represent yourself, and you filter out the people that are not necessarily made to get along with you, or they're not looking for what you have to offer. But when you find those relationships, and this applies to even outside of streaming, but when you find someone, cherish that relationship and that encounter, because it's special, and it's not everyone that actually have the opportunity to do it. And so for me, it's very important that the people that I network, which is basically a fancy word to say like make friends, I guess. It's important for me that it's a true, genuine relationship.
If you're networking on an authentic level with your values in mind, you shouldn't have to ever, it's sort of like someone who sells something to you. You shouldn't have to ever pressure the other person. They should be willing to say, I want that product, I want that brand, without you ever having to do anything at all. That's what Twitch is to me. It's relationships, engagements, friends, and like kindness, love. It goes on and on.
And people catch on to it. I mean, you mentioned someone going maybe into your stream or into a stream and say, hey, I'm going live, and you should check me out as well, because whatever, I'm cool. But like think of it outside of streaming. If like I own a restaurant and I go to another, like inside another restaurant, and just say, hey everyone, just so you know, my restaurant down there, it's really, really good. You should finish your meals and then come over. Like it's something that people catch on, and they say, okay, it's not.
It sounds so silly.
Streaming is so saturated that you cannot just like make content and then hope that, you know, one day you'll get that big raid with like thousands of people and they will all stick to you. Because there are some practices to do in order to put yourself in front of as many eyeballs as possible if you want to grow, if you want it to become, you know, maybe your career. But I feel like it would not be very ethical to go around and try to promote your stream and into other people's stream and whatsoever.
Absolutely. I've never got to know myself more than when I started streaming. And I guess it's the mindset of wanting to build a community and wanting to get your best foot out there. And so you always continually think, what can I do to provide my best self to everyone else? And how people react to it is an experimentation for actually finding out who I am in general. And sort of like creating these promises with myself when it comes to every other social media that I'm on, and getting that consistency out there. Consistency, I've always said this, every form of growth derives off of consistency and intensity. And if you don't have consistency, if you don't have intensity within the consistency itself, you're not going to grow.
Work hard, but also work smart.
Work smart, yeah.
Right? Because if you're facing a wall and you just like hit that wall over and over, and it's important to as you say, like self-reflect, and it gives you this insight into your own self and like how you can improve or find better ways, and not just be stuck with how are those called?
Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision. Yeah, exactly. So where you close yourself to opportunities, which is something that we mentioned earlier. We're everything is like a web that we're building together, and it forms this beautiful, magical, shiny, because like the webs when there's like the little water drops in the morning, like it sparks and everything. We're basically that.
We're the water droplets, man. Yeah,
we're
man.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
This is for you. This is to you, for you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. Oh, welcome.
Pinky up. Pinky up.
Pinky up? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just like Patrick from SpongeBob used to say.
I don't think you'll like me.
Oh, you never watched SpongeBob, huh? I'm
did
not
watch
offended.
a couple episodes when I
Yeah.
was a kid, but I don't know I don't know much about it.
Carp, I don't think there's anything that you could do that I could say I don't like you. Seriously, you've already spoke to me enough for me to be like, yeah, this dude's already a good friend of mine. Like, there's no trouble with it. If you didn't watch SpongeBob, like, I hate you a little bit on the inside, but I still love you. So how does your personality differ on stream versus off stream?
I don't think it's very different in the sense that I'm very. I mentioned earlier how I ridicule myself all the time. That comes from who I am in real life. Like, I'm not afraid. My roommate would tell you that I would just, start dancing in the middle of the apartment in the middle of the day because why not?
Yeah,
like,
you wanted
I
to.
don't. Yeah, exactly. Because I wanted to. I do think that sometimes it's just so good to release all that energy, that chaotic energy that is within me. Where I differ, I can't tell you. I don't think there probably are different, like, every relationship is different, right? When I would talk to you in a phone call versus right now, well, although it's pretty similar, we're getting along, but when I talk with other different people all around the place, obviously you behave in certain ways that are more appropriate for the situation.
Yeah.
But I don't think that overall I'm very different. No.
So do you feel like you might behave in like a more, is what you're saying, a more professional manner, maybe?
Actually, now that you say that, I would say I'm more conscious. I'm trying to be as aware as possible of what I say and what I put out.
Okay.
In the sense that it's important for me to realize that people can interpret what you say in different ways, and be mindful of the words that you use or the way you express some things, for them not to get the wrong idea. So I would say maybe in that sense I try to think twice before I say some things. In other ways, I don't even think. Like, I say things and then I'm like, oh yeah, I said that. Yeah. But it's usually when I'm playing around and when I'm acting like a fool. When we get to like more meaningful subjects or questions of morality or different scenario, that's where I'm more careful into making sure that I say what truly resonates with me, but what is also very appropriate for people to hear.
And honestly, I think that is a very hard portion of communication that everyone always needs work on. Defining what to say and defining that it sticks to your values and that you're still being yourself. And like, there's so many aspects to it that it's very complex as a social communication tool. What drives you as a person?
A car. Not anymore. I don't have my car anymore.
Okay. Well, cool. That ends Java JuiceCast number 5.
What is meant by that question?
So, what internally drives you to get up every morning and be who you are, and to respect your own core values and to respect other people's core values?
This is pretty deep, but not deep, but like very personal. As a kid, I did think about suicide when I was young. I was given the opportunity to experience everything.
Yeah.
The life, universe, and whatsoever. It could have been nothing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So what drives me is just to know that, I don't want this opportunity to go to waste. Even if, life would be, I would be at an all-time low, I lost everything and whatsoever, it's still all part of this show or this
grand
beautiful
scheme
thing. Yeah. Because I try to see beyond myself, beyond the ego or whatsoever. I try to see it also in the eye of a spectator, where I want to actively participate in my life, but also to just be able to take a step back and be grateful for just it happening. That's definitely a great driver. When I feel down or whatsoever, just step away from my ego and everything makes so much more sense.
I think that about sums up everything. That concludes episode number 5 of the Java JuiceCast. Thank you guys all for coming out. I appreciate your time here.
Can I just say,
please do.
Big thank you for giving me that opportunity today. It was really, really fun. As I said, it's very important for me to throw myself out of my comfort zone. But you to organize all this, I think it's so valuable. And thank you for not only me, but for everyone that you're getting involved with your podcasts and videos. I think it's really great what you're doing.
Thank you.
Doing here, man.
I want to thank you for being that type of person, to, you know, that exuberant, vibrant, sort of like has very, very similar qualities to my stream. I'm just like bringing it back to you, my appreciation for like having someone like you on this show.
Well, thank you 1,000 times. It means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Carp. You have a good day, my man.
You too.
We'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.
See ya. That concludes Java JuiceCast episode number 5. That's all I got. Carp, thank you again. Thank you for being a great support system, not only to your viewers, but taking care of my viewers also. I think it's very important that literally everyone on Twitch becomes a family, and that we treat each other with the utmost respect. The ones who strive for growth. That's the whole thing I want to get through with these conversations. I want you to learn something. I want you to go out and feel inspired because Carp spoke on the podcast and you learned something. You learned an introspective, maybe life-changing, life-altering thing from what Carp said. We always have opportunity to seek out some sort of education between person to person. Don't ever let yourself take advantage of that. We shall unite again, and as always, stay juicy, stay happy, stay humble, and most importantly, stay positive. We'll see you all next time.